Today we're talking about the best used motorcycles to buy for the 2026 riding season because boys, this is actually a pretty damn good time to be shopping for a motorcycle. You might have been born too late to buy a home in 2008, too early to be a famous streamer, but just in time to buy a sweet ride during the great used market dip of 2026. For the last few years, the used market has been insane. Dealers and Facebook Marketplace grifters alike were all asking near MSRP for a 5-year-old bike with bald tires, 3 previous owners, and Temu levers. But things are changing. Prices are coming down, inventory is loosening up, and there's a lot of really good motorcycles that are getting cheaper to buy. Some models got replaced or updated, some fell out of fashion because motorcyclists have the attention span of an iPad kid. I guess those TFT displays are coming in handy. So today, let's talk about the used bikes that are good buys in 2026. And don't worry, I'm not gonna mention any SV650s or MT-07s. Come on, that's a little obvious. No, let's get a little taste and let's get started. Kicking things off, we've got the Triumph Bonneville and Speed Twin. Honestly, every time I'm doing research for the It Came From Facebook Marketplace series, I come across an absolute gem of a used Triumph, and I always think, man, that thing's only $6 grand? Triumph has been aura farming the modern classic segment for like 25 years at this point, and both the Bonneville and Speed Twin are long proven staples of the category. They've received little updates here and there over the years, but anything from the last decade is pretty much indistinguishable unless you're a full-blown Triumph Forum moderator. Each bike comes in 900 and 1200cc flavors, so you're looking at roughly 64 or 105 horsepower. Regardless of size though, both engines are similar, smooth and torquey, and they sound really nice and have way more character than most bikes in this price range. And the build quality is a big part of the appeal too. The paint, the finishes, the little detail, it all feels properly premium. It doesn't feel like Triumph's new offerings that's starting to feel a little cheap. It feels great, which is awesome because you can find these things all day long between $6 and $9 grand, depending on mileage and condition, which is ridiculous considering they were $10,000 to $14,000 brand new. And to the average person, they'd have no idea you're riding an older model. That's the beauty of a modern classic. They age really, really well. Triumph updates them just enough to keep selling the new ones while nuking the resale value of the old ones. Not to mention Triumph's obsession with limited editions. Every year it's like, introducing the new Bonneville Steve McQueen Elvis Presley Heritage Chrome Final Edition number 7 of 400. Meanwhile, your used base model does 95% of the same thing for half the price. These bikes are best for riders who care about style, character, and maybe enjoy a dry British comedy or two. They're not for riders who want bleeding edge performance, a spaceship dashboard, or something to drag race Busas and ZX14s on the highway. And a fun little side note, make sure to get one from prior years, 2023 and before, because then you get the twin analog gauges. The brand new ones, I think 25 and up, they all have that new single. Ugh, just don't even do it. Next up, we have the Ducati Supersport 937. This bike was one of those classic cases of a motorcycle being marketed wrong or just generally misunderstood. Or maybe it was a little before its time. When this thing came out, everyone kind of looked at it a little sideways. To the Ducatisti, it was a watered-down, processed Ducati substitute. It used the frame and engine from the Monster, so it sort of falls into that sport bike made from a naked bike category that purists love to complain about. And the short version is that it wasn't a Panigale, so the wannabe track guys didn't care, and to the Japanese bike crowd, a ZX6 was cheaper and more powerful. They always say that, don't they? So it ended up in this like awkward stepchild, picked last at the family reunion badminton tournament kind of thing. But in a vacuum, free of comparison and with the benefit of time, it's actually a really solid motorcycle. You've got a 937cc V-twin making just over 110 horsepower and about 70 foot-pounds of torque. The S version gets Öhlins suspension, Brembo brakes, and a solid Ducati electronics package. Yeah, it's a little outdated now, but it's still pretty good. And the used prices right now hover between $7,000 and $10,000, which is pretty remarkable for a fully fared Ducati that's only a few years old. So, why is it so affordable? Like I mentioned, it was misunderstood, and the timing was just off. It showed up too early for the whole not-so-super sport wave. At the same time, people were still obsessed with 200-plus horsepower superbikes and crackhead-level hypernakeds. Then Ducati made the Panigale more streetable, and suddenly the Supersport just looked, well, redundant. But now in 2026, the usable naked bike derived sport bike is exactly what people want. Good components, fast enough to have fun, comfortable enough to ride, plus it's a red Ducati, and to 99.99% of the human population, that's all that matters. They're gonna see the name, they're gonna see the color, they'll be like, oh, you got a Ducati sport bike. This bike is best for riders who want a sporty but comfortable daily, something they can ride in the city with ease while still being too cool to ride a GSX-8R or a Daytona 660. It's not for hardcore track guys, spec sheet warriors, or Ducatisti elitists. Look, it's no surprise I don't love the BMW R NineT. Something about the name, the smug aura, and just the pretentious attitude just rubs me the wrong way. But I recognize some people like it, and it is not objectively bad, and I cannot disregard a good deal when I see one. When this bike first came out, like any BMW product, it was expensive, tailored to the guy who just got promoted to middle management and started listening to stoicism podcasts and drinking espresso and whiskey. Maybe not at the same time, that'd be crazy. The guy who just started making enough money to where it becomes cool to act working class. Red Wing mock toe boots and all. You know the vibe. BMW embraced the heritage angle with this bike, and people bought into it. Big boxer engine, shaft drive, stripped back aesthetics. It's very much a grown-up motorcycle for adults who miss being in their 20s. Sorry, this is not meant to be a roast session, it's just really easy with BMWs, I gotta dial it back. As many premium purchases do, the R NineT depreciated rather quickly. You can find really nice clean ones for around $7,000 to $10,000, which is a pretty good bargain considering how much they cost new, especially if you option them out. These bikes use an air and oil cooled 1170cc boxer engine making about 110 horsepower and 85 foot-pounds of torque. And while this engine is not particularly to my taste, it is interesting nonetheless. BMW is the only manufacturer making a boxer twin, and they kind of have like a heritage vibe to them. These bikes dropped in value because BMW made a million different versions of this thing. Pure, Racer, Scrambler, Urban GS, Barista Edition, you get the point. The market got flooded when all the old dudes who bought them moved on to a different hobby. I'm sure they're into archery or equestrianism or some other random old guy hobby. It's an interesting buy now because it's unique in both style and performance. The boxer layout really feels unlike any other motorcycle, and gobs of torque aren't too shabby for around town brewery hopping either, which is the exact use case for this machine. The R NineT is best for riders who want something premium, different, and a little bit weird, kind of like that quirky millennial vibe with your little feet together and the keep calm and chive on, OMG, so random and epic bacon time. You know, that kind of millennial who's now established enough to where they put their money where their quirky little random mouths are. It's not for riders who want performance first or anyone who sits on one, blips the throttle, and is immediately repulsed by the side-to-side jostling and everything that comes with owning a BMW. Moving on. All right, it's my favorite part of any giveaway that we do here on YamiNoob. It's when I tell you who won our most recent bike. Jay in Oklahoma took home the Moto Guzzi V7 Sport we recently wrapped up. Here he is enjoying life, looking wonderful with his Italian machine. But fear not, there is another Italian machine up for grabs on yaminoob.co. Click the link down below, become a member today, and get your best chance to win this bike. We've done over 70 giveaway motorcycles. Why not make yourself the next winner? Click that link below, support the show. Now let's get back to it. Next up, we've got the Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX, and this might be the most criminally overlooked bike on this entire list. And I'll be honest, I think it comes down to just one thing. This bike is just deeply, profoundly uncool. Nobody is posting thirst traps with their Ninja 1000. No one is making TikToks about their sport touring setup. It is not a clout bike. It is not a pull up to the bike night and rev it to 15,000 RPM bike. This is a grown-ass man's motorcycle that physically will not turn on if it recognizes the operator is wearing a fuzzy helmet cover. And that's exactly why these used prices are so good. Let the broccoli heads ride their CF motos, keep the good shit for yourself. You can find these between $6,500 and $9,000 all day long, which is insane when you actually look at what you're getting. This is a 1043cc inline-4 machine making about 140 horsepower with that smooth linear power delivery, comfortable ergonomics, wind protection, optional luggage, and actual real-world usability compared to the race-derived ZX-10. It's basically a detuned missile that you can ride for more than 45 minutes without needing a chiropractor. So, why has it come down in value so much? A couple of reasons. Kawasaki updated the newer models with better electronics and then a bigger engine, which makes the old ones feel outdated on paper. And probably more importantly, the entire sport touring category has just fallen out of fashion. It's just uncool. There are way more sexy ways to be comfortable on a motorcycle. Hyper nakeds, tall rounders, and somehow the market has even agreed that ADV bikes are cooler than old school sport tourers. We are truly living in godless times. Meanwhile, this thing is just sitting there being objectively excellent at everything, and that's what makes it such a great buy. It doesn't specialize, it just works. For on-road stuff, commuting, canyons, road trips, it does it all without complaint. This bike is best for riders who actually want to ride their motorcycle, someone who wants one bike to do everything well on road without sacrificing comfort or reliability. Kawasaki's been printing out inline-4s for decades, and this one doesn't have any of the issues you've been hearing about with the ZX6s. It's not for riders who care about image, who want something lightweight or flashy, or need their bike to impress strangers at a gas station. Next up, we have the Harley-Davidson Sportster 1200. Shocker, I know, but stick with me. The used Sportster has always been an affordable buy, but as time goes on, they're getting even cheaper. Harley discontinued the Evo Sportster and replaced it with the new liquid-cooled Sportster S, which is a completely different motorcycle entirely. Chassis, engine, philosophy, they all deviate from what a Sportster was meant to be. So the Evo Sportsters are kind of heirloom gems that haven't ascended to heirloom gem pricing. Every corn-fed American was sold the Sportster as their first bike over the last 4 decades, and they rode it for a season before moving on to a Softail or a Bagger and then passing it on to Deb. And then Deb realized she likes being a passenger princess more than riding, so they sell the Sportster for pennies. It's a story as old as time. You can see it across the Midwest for miles and miles. There are so many of these motorcycles floating around, and they all cost anywhere from like $3,000 to $6,000 for a perfectly suitable model. The 1200 V-twin makes around 65 ponies and 70 foot-pounds of torque. Suspension, brakes, electronics all range from barely non-existent to entirely non-existent. The appeal of this motorcycle is how classic and timeless they are. They're fixtures of Americana. Super easy to work on, one of the biggest aftermarkets of any motorcycle on planet Earth. It's just a simple, stylish, air-cooled bike with lots of character and cultural cachet. It's best for riders who want a simple, customizable bike that feels like an heirloom product from another era. It's substantial, it's got heft, and it feels like it's hewn from real metal. It's not for riders who want performance tech or who don't want to be displacement mogged by the big daddy baggers at bike night. Next up, we've got the Aprilia Tuono 660. This bike is way better than the resale value would suggest, and I think it's also a victim of circumstances. Kind of misunderstood, lacking Japanese prevalence or Ducati brand recognition. It is not a full-blown middleweight in the traditional supersport sense. And it's not a fully fared sport bike, nor is it a totally naked bike. It's a motorcycle that requires context and understanding, and most motorcyclists are just not that deep, frankly. Can we just be so honest here? The Tuono uses a 659cc parallel twin, making about 100 horsepower and 50 foot-pounds of torque. It's got a fun, lightweight chassis that is comfortable yet sporty when you need it. It's got a super advanced tech package with traction control, wheelie control, cruise control, and more. The whole package feels way more premium than other bikes in this category. And now that the middleweight category is as crowded as ever, the Tuono prices have taken a dip on the used market. You can find clean units for around 7 or 8 grand. And hell, there are brand new previous year models being sold for less than 9 grand. This just proves how slept on this motorcycle is. It has the appeal of an Italian exotic, but is a little more usable and affordable. It's best for riders who want a modern, high-tech bike with great performance. It's not for riders whose reliability standards are set by Honda or who still think Aprilia as the maker of little two-stroke race bikes or scooters. And also, the whole reliability thing is pretty overblown. They're pretty easy to work on, pretty straightforward, and not really a whole lot of them go wrong. I think they're a pretty big hit. Everyone online's trying to max out nowadays. Looks maxing, gesture maxing, but if you're trying to displacement max and you want the absolute biggest motorcycle you can get for the price, then look no further than the Yamaha FJR1300. This is another one of those sport touring gems, but it has a bit of a unique twist. It was built in a time when sport touring meant a bike should be as fast as it is comfortable and willing, no, begging to eat up miles. An FJR with 50,000 miles is barely broken in, boys. It uses a 1298cc inline 4, making about 145 ponies and 100 foot-pounds of torque. It uses a shaft drive, so no maintenance. It employs cruise control, heated grips, electronic suspension, and enough wind protection that you'll forget that it's only 50 degrees out. This was practically a flagship machine for Yamaha for years, but now nobody seems to want them. Touring bikes are out. ADV bikes are in, and anything that doesn't sit 3 feet off the ground with crash bars and auxiliary lights is apparently irrelevant. Prices have cratered as a result. You can find really clean FJRs from the last decade for $9,000, and if you go further back in the catalog, they get closer to like $5,000 or less. An FJR is the whole package. Fast, comfortable, reliable, what more could you want? It's best for riders who want to go long distances, commute on the highway, or just want a bike that can take abuse day in and day out and not skip a beat. It's not for riders who care about trends or want something lightweight and flickable or need their motorcycle to double as a personality trait. Kind of think of the FJR as the guy who wanted a Busa but was actually realistic with his intentions. Alright boys, there you have it, the best used motorcycles to buy in 2026 in my humble opinion. Not because they're perfect, but because the market has forgotten how good they are. If you take your time, do your research, you can get a seriously nice bike for a fraction of what it costs new. And I hope you do. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I'll catch you in the next one.